Hello, Feral friends. Welcome back to Feral. I'm your host, Savana Montana, and today we are going to talk about something that's been a little bit of a hot topic with women. And it's not a fun topic, so I'm going to try to get through it as seamlessly and quickly and painless for you guys as possible. But the truth is that not everybody that you think is your friend is actually your friend. And the truth is your friends might be holding you back. We're going to get into some of the different dynamics of friendships and friend groups and who's there for you and who's not, the ifs, the ands, the buts, the whys, the what the hell is going on in this situation? Because unfortunately, some of our friends don't truly want what's best for us. They just want what's more comfortable for them. So I'm realizing that women are finally starting to realize this, but some friendships are quietly keeping us small. And it's not so much that they don't love you or they don't like you or they don't want to support you, but they certainly don't treat you like they want you to win, and they absolutely don't want you to outgrow them. And really the dynamic of that is just comfort and growth. Let me tell you who the fuck I think I am. You got a minute? Wow. Many of our friendships are actually built around the versions of us that we used to be. And that's okay. But we have to remember that we change and we grow and evolve all the time, right? So if our friendships are not matching that growth, or at the very least not supporting it, maybe it's time to reevaluate that friendship. And what kind of friends could these be? You might be one of them too. That's okay. It can come on both sides. You can use this as a reflection episode then. But maybe you have the party friends, or you have the struggle is real friends that you bonded with over crazy shit that you guys went through together at the same time, or friends that you were in your single girl era with, or even just friends that you complain a lot with, which, by the fucking way, I love those friends. I love to complain. I know it's such a bad thing to complain, but I personally love a solid complaint, and I love to hear one, but we can't live in that. It can't be the only basis of our friendship, right? Or can it? Maybe I'm rethinking this whole episode. No, I'm just kidding. But when you evolve and grow into the next version of yourself that you're supposed to become, those dynamics in those friendships can change. The dynamic shifts. It's not the same anymore. And you can kind of feel like this weird little stretch, if you will. Maybe you're in a phase of your life where you're starting a new business, or you're building a brand, or you're changing your health goals. You're getting super into fitness, or you're just changing how you show up in your life. Could be drinking, could be drugs, could be smoking. Maybe you're just cutting out old habits that don't suit you anymore. Could be setting boundaries. That's always a hard one. And it's one that comes up a lot because as we get older and we evolve and grow and change, we realize what we're willing to tolerate and what we're not willing to tolerate. And sometimes when you set your boundaries, it affects the friendships around you because maybe it sparked from a family member or a personal relationship, but then it follows suit with everybody else, right? So some of your friends might have some of those qualities and you're just changing boundaries and they don't like it. Or on the relationship side, you could be in a new relationship, right? You could be with somebody new. Whether it's healthy or unhealthy of a relationship, usually intimate relationships kind of spread friendships apart, and not because it's a bad thing, but just generally people that get into a relationship start to spend more time together and they start to view things differently, or they start to adapt to their partner and they just view the world in a different way because they have this new found thing in their life. All in all, the growth period is really just an exposure of what your true friendship looks like. And it's like this hidden contract that nobody ever talks about, but contracts change or they get canceled or they end, right? Just like friendships, relationships, anything in your life. And they're unspoken agreements and these silent friendship contracts, clauses, if you will. Maybe it's because you guys bonded over relatability. You guys relate a lot to each other. Most friends do. You're supposed to. That's a good thing, right? So if you're no longer relatable anymore, that could pose a problem. Or if you're not as available anymore, or if they just want you to stay the same, or if they don't want you to grow, they don't want you to push harder for that next big thing that you're doing or you're excited about or that you're all of a sudden into because they're not into it. Could be something like they don't want you to outshine the group. You're like, this is the contract that you signed. We need you to stay the same because this is the role that you play in the dynamic of the group of us, okay? Well, maybe you just decided that you changed. So maybe that group just no longer fits you anymore. When you break that friendship contract, that invisible contract that we all sign, you'll start to hear things like, you've changed, or you're different, or you think you're better than us, or you're not fun anymore. Little things like that. That should be like an eye opener for you to say, hey, this dynamic is shifting and maybe this isn't what I signed up for. I like who I'm becoming and I like the direction that I'm going in and I like the way that I've changed. That's just a sign that maybe they don't, and that's okay. You don't have to love them any less. They're not a bad person, but they might be holding you back. Sometimes those phrases or those snide little remarks or jabs or comments that are not even meant to be malicious are just code for they're not comfortable for the new version of you that's showing up in the group. They maybe liked the role that you used to play. And why does this happen? Because I'm sure it's happened to you at some point in your life. If it hasn't happened yet, it's going to happen, especially if you're in your 20s. Get ready, because it's a roller coaster of a ride of friendships and people that are in and out and change their mind all the time. It's something fun. But the good news is it's typically not evil. It's not malicious or ill-willed or poor intent, not intentionally, not directly. I think it's more of an indirect thing. One of the biggest reasons this comes through in friendships, and you might be guilty of it or receiving it from a friend, is number one, I would say, insecurity. When you're changing and you're becoming somebody different and you're shooting for the moon or just doing something different with your life, it can make the people around you feel insecure because they're like, well, why is she doing this or doing that or doing something new? Or why am I not doing that? Or why can't I have that? Or why am I not looking like this or dressing like this or trying new things or whatever? They're just reflecting on themselves, and it's making them feel inferior to you, because that's the next reason, I would say, comparison. All they're doing is comparing themselves to you, which is, that's an art of evil, if you ask me, because comparing yourself to your friends or somebody else's situation is only ever going to make you feel lesser than, and it's not even the truth. But your friends could be doing that inside and internally, and that will affect your guys' friendship directly, even if they don't mean it to, because now they're comparing their life and their situation and their job and their friendships and their relationships with all of yours. And they were used to what those friendships and relationships and business ships all used to look like, and it fit for them. But now that things are changing, they're like, well, maybe they're feeling insecure. Maybe they're feeling like they're comparing everything to you, and it's bringing out an ugly version of them. It's bringing a side of them out in that friendship that is maybe not so positive. And you have to choose whether you stick around with it or don't. And if you have strong enough friendships, this is a pro tip, sit down with that friend and say, hey, this is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm feeling. Is any of this true? Is it all in my head? And X, Y, Z, have the hard conversation, and then inspire them to change too, and change and grow with you. If you really love your friends and you want to see them do epic, cool shit with you, or just go in a different direction, invite them in. If you feel like your friend is feeling insecure or feeling compared, like, you can be the bigger person if you see it. If you don't see it that way, then maybe just gradually let that friendship fade. Sometimes our friends just have a fear of being left behind. It's not that they're upset or jealous or comparing or insecure about anything that you're doing. They love you to death. They're just afraid that you're going to get so far detached from the old version of you, which is good. It's not a bad thing, but that they won't fit into your life anymore. And they're afraid of being left behind, or that you're going to go on without them. So again, you can invite them in, or just know, hey, this is when I have time and energy and effort and presence to be a part of this friendship. Everything else goes into my dreams, my goals, my changes, my relationships, whatever it is that you're building on the other side. And that's how much you're going to show up for that friendship. And you're not being a shitty friend by doing that, but you are prioritizing the things that push you forward and move you. Do you understand what I'm saying? Regardless of why anybody is doing it or not, unfortunately, the result is still the same. It doesn't have to be ill-willed or malicious intent or evil. It could be completely innocent, but regardless, those kinds of friendships are still pulling you down. They're adding extra weight that might not catapult you to where you want to be and where you need to be as a person right now. But the moment you grow is the moment that friendship contract changes. So remember that. There's many, many different types of friendships and archetypes that we could get into. I'm going to list a couple of them so we know what to look out for. And I'm obviously going to pick the 3 most obvious ones, but there are 3 very specific types of friends that tend to hold women back. And not every single one of those types is dramatic. It might be very subtle, and maybe the most subtle ones are the most dangerous. Maybe those are the ones to look out for the most. And you guys know which one I'm going to say. First and foremost, it's the jealous friend. We've all had them. We might have been the jealous friend at one point in our life. Jealousy is a green-eyed, ugly monster, and nobody wants to be her. She's a crooked bitch is what she is. But they exist. Jealous friends exist. Jealousy exists. Some people are very jealous. Some people are open and honest about their jealousy, and some people are not. I would venture to say the people who are open and honest about being jealous are a way cooler friend to have. But they typically are more jealous in relationships, not so much friendships, just in my experience. If you don't know if you have a jealous friend or there is a jealous type in your friend group, look out for a friend or a person in your life who downplays you or copies you or is constantly competing with you, or that person who every single time you win, they just shut the fuck up. They ghost. They're silent. They're quiet. They don't say anything. They don't reach out. They don't clap. They don't comment. They don't like it. Like, they're not there. And then randomly at a dinner you'll be out with them and they bring it up to your face and you're like, if you knew this the whole time, like, why didn't you say anything? Because that would be too supportive. They're probably not happy about it. And that's a them thing, by the way. It's not a you thing. Like, it sucks to have a jealous friend. It really, really does, because sometimes they're the coolest freaking friend you got. But jealousy, again, it's a green-eyed, ugly monster, and it's not the person that you want around you, especially when you're trying to grow and change. Or the little quiet comments like, oh, it must be nice, or God, I wish I had your life. Also, that can be a compliment, but listen to how they say it, not what they say. Or you just got lucky. Bitch, I didn't just get lucky. There is no such thing as luck, okay? And it ain't luck if you're lucky, toots. But no, I don't believe in luck. I think that everything happens for a reason. So that's me. Maybe there's a little tiny bit of luck involved, but that's just the universe throwing you a bone. It's just like giving you a little extra oomph. But if you have friends that say stuff like that to you, look out for those friends, because that's not a cool thing to say. And if you're a friend who is saying those things or feeling that way, again, use this episode as a way to look inward and ask yourself, why am I feeling that way? Or why am I looking at it this way? You don't have to look at things like that. You don't have to compare yourself with your friends. You don't have to compete or throw snide remarks. It doesn't make you feel any better, and it sure as shit doesn't make your friends feel better. But regardless, jealous friends do not celebrate your wins. They study them. And then they try to compete with you and copy you and throw you under the bus and say stupid shit behind your back. Then it becomes that way, unless you nip it in the bud. You know what I'm saying? The other type of friend is the energy vampire. Oh yes, you guys know exactly who I'm talking about. We've all got them. And unfortunately, in my experience, I feel like energy vampires more so end up becoming the person that you've known for your entire life, or a family member, or like a close family friend, like that kind of person. Typically isn't the people that you meet later in your life. But actually, I have a couple friends who have energy vampires in their life, which is why I specifically picked this topic, this archetype, if you will, because they can be extremely toxic and they're super uncool, and we can't hang out with them for too long because we're just not going to have any energy for life after that. The energy vampires are the constant complainers, the overly dramatic, the everything is a crisis, the sky is falling, the world is melting down, nothing ever works out. They're just constantly emotional dumping on you, right? It's just trauma and drama and word vomit all the freaking time, which is cool. It's one thing to vent. It's one thing to vent, ladies. And when you're venting, it's conversational. But when all of that becomes diarrhea of the mouth and you're just throwing up on your friends and you're not letting them get a word in edgewise, and you're not taking any of their advice, and you're not considering what they're trying to tell you. Like, if they're trying to help you and be there for you, you have to learn how to hear it, right? And you should, as a friend receiving all of this, that's what you're there to do. That's what friends are for. That's part of the bonus of having us. But if they don't give a shit what you have to say and they're just using you as an audience, that is an energy vampire. That is not a two-way street, baby. That is a highway and a bike path. Okay. And how do you know if you have an energy vampire in your life? This is the number one key indicator. You're exhausted after seeing them. You're beat. You're spent. You get home and you see your significant other and you're like, don't even talk to me. I just had lunch with so-and-so and I can't even think straight. I need to take a nap. I need to take a deep breath and I just need to because they don't want your advice. They don't want your opinion. They don't want your support. They just want you to sit there and listen. And then when the check comes, they're like, well, super good to see you. Hope everything's going great. And then you don't hear from them for another 3 weeks. That is not a friendship. That is an energy vampire who is a wolf in sheep's clothing. Okay. Some girls don't want our help. They just don't want our help. They don't want solutions. They don't want advice. They think they want support, but they can't take it. They can't receive. They're not open to that. Sometimes they just want somebody to accompany their chaos, if you will. And then we have our stay small friends. They're the most common ones. They're usually the ones we've been friends with forever, but they don't want the ambitious version of you. They like the comfy, cozy person that you've always been you because they're that person too. And that's why you guys are so tight and we love them. And they're beautiful and fantastic. But you'll start to hear them say things like, you're doing too much, or you work too much, or you're too much of this, or too much of that, or why are you here? And let's just hang out and do this instead. Because they're in their comfort zone and they want you to stay in that comfort zone with them. But that's not going to push you to the person that you want to be or the level that you want to go. And there's no malicious intent in that. Again, especially these kinds of friends, but they are added weight. They are going to hold you back the more time you spend with them because they just don't see your life the way that you see it. And they're not doing it to be mean. They like right here, right now. And maybe they're willing to stay right here, right now forever. And you're not. That's okay. Just maybe distance yourself from that person. You don't have to be mean. You don't have to be rude. You don't have to be mean or rude to any of these people, but you guys know what I'm going to say. Focus on yourself. Because once you focus on yourself, the world around you tends to change and follow suit. Because you're showing up for yourself and you're telling the universe what you want. But some friendships, to be quite frank with you guys, are literally just built on mutual stagnation. And if you don't want to be stagnant anymore, you have to recognize that maybe that friendship doesn't like your ambition because it makes them uncomfortable. If this episode is hitting too close to home for you, I apologize in advance, but maybe it's time to audit your circle. Which leads me to my next point. You can outgrow your friendships without becoming the villain. You don't have to become this like dramatic, crazy asshole of a friend and just start icing people out like the Wicked Witch. You know what I'm saying? But you can do it in a graceful way. And it doesn't have to be dramatic or intense or overwhelming. So let's do that. Unfortunately, outgrowing friendships is one of the most uncomfortable parts of leveling up. But when you want to level up and you want to become somebody new and different and evolve and change and grow, this is what comes with the territory. Growth creates distance, and a lot of it. It is a lonely, lonely road to grow. But not all friendships were meant to last forever. And that's okay. They were a part of your story. They were a part of a chapter or several chapters. Very few people are going to be in your chapter that you're in right now into the chapter that you end with. Very, very few people. I'm talking about like 1% of the people that you see. Even think about 10 years ago. Do you still talk to the people that you talked to 10 years ago? Probably not. If you do, maybe you're just really comfortable with staying the same. And it's one thing to like check in with people every once in a while. It's another thing to see them every single weekend. But if you have a lot of those, great, totally different dynamic of a human being. And maybe this entire episode is just offensive to you. So I apologize in advance. However, I doubt that. Some of your friends are just a part of your life for a season, a period that you're going through because you met them in that era. And some of those last a long time and some of them don't last so long. Some of your friendships are situational. Maybe you met them through a relationship. Maybe you met them in college. Maybe you met them at a place that you worked and it was a great dynamic then, but it was a situational dynamic friendship. And you guys can stay in touch and just do the damn thing later on, but you're not super tight. And then you have your identity-based friendships. Those are typically the hardest ones to evolve out of because you guys had so much in common, but now your commonality is changing because one of you is changing. The avatar that I'm talking to is the girl that is changing and outgrowing the friendship. Regardless, you don't have to love these people any less or treat them any different, but you do have to focus on yourself and realize that sometimes this energy that surrounds you, that you're spending your time with or hanging out with on the weekends or going out to dinner with, it's holding you back. It's not in your best interest to allocate so much time, effort, and energy into those kinds of friends. Not anymore. Because not everybody that you started with is meant to finish the race with you. And they're not going to. And it doesn't have to be some dramatic, crazy breakup, drama fest, text message, group fallout, this whole thing. It doesn't have to be that way. But it does have to be a change, because you need to attract new people into your life and new friendships and people that have the same commonalities or can push you and challenge you and move you in the direction that you want to go. Those are the friendships you need to attract into your life, but you can't attract when you have no more room. So sometimes it's time to shed. You gotta make space for the things and the people and the places that you want to be a part of your life. Sometimes you just see these people less. You just don't hang out with them as much. It's not good. It's not bad. It's just less time spent. And that's okay. That's a really, really good way to do it. Another good way to create distance or just stress yourself out less with friends that are not truly there for you is stop sharing everything with them, especially the jealous ones, because you're telling them key points and exciting moments and goals that you have. And their response on the other end is meh. They don't get excited. They don't want to talk about it. They immediately change the subject. So don't share everything with people who treat you that way. And outside of friendships, just anyone that's in your life, because it's just going to make you feel bad. And they're just going to downplay it or completely ignore it. And you're like, holy shit, I'm so excited about this thing. Why aren't you excited for me? Either because they're insecure, they're comparing themselves to you, or they're just a jealous freak. Stop sharing so much with friends who make you feel a certain type of way, and shift your energy into a different direction. Shift your energy to the things that you like, the people that you like, maybe people that you want to attract into your life that you want to make friends with. Start showing up in those rooms and at those places. Invite them to spend time with you so that you can rub off on them and they can rub off on you, and create a different energy and attract better friendships, and the friendships that are good for you right now, friendships that you can serve, that can also show up for you and support your life. And it might blossom into something wonderful. It might not. You're going to go through this again and again and again, but we have to be able to spot the people and the friends, specifically for this episode, the friends in our life who are not supporting us, who don't really give a shit, who feel insecure, who don't want to see us win, who don't clap when we do something great or when we hit our goals or when we set goals and want to reach them and push and thrive and have all this ambition to do something different with our lives. It goes across the board and it goes without saying, but specifically friends, if your friends are not doing these things for you, it's time to get new friends. But focus on building a circle that actually supports your evolution. People who want to celebrate your wins, people who want to win with you. There are women in the world that want to win with you, that want to see you thrive, that want to see you do cool shit, that want to do cool shit with you. Some of your new friends or people that are already in your life do want to sit on the sidelines and they just want to watch you skyrocket. At the very least, they're supportive. 100%. That is the least thing a friend can be, is supportive. It's like a bare minimum prerequisite. You got to do that thing to be a friend. If you're not supportive of your friends, you're not a true friend. Attract people who challenge you, who want to take challenges with you, who ask you dynamic questions, who give you ideas on how to become better or try new things, or maybe invite you into their circles and be like, oh my gosh, I think these people would be so good for you. And this person knows this and she knows that. And she's really good at this and she can help you there. Those are the kinds of friends that you want. They encourage your growth. They help you strive for more. They introduce you to new things, and they respect your boundaries when they're doing it. They're like, this is where we're at. This is how she is, or this is what she does like, or what she doesn't like. And they learn about you. And they grow with you and they adapt and they have boundaries of their own, because those kinds of women respect themselves. Those are the kind of friendships. Those are the kind of women that you want to bring into your life. Women are so freaking powerful, you guys. So powerful. We have to stick together. We have to push each other and do better things. But unfortunately for most of us, and most of the girls that are listening to this podcast right now, have some not so good friends around them. And it's important to acknowledge it. And not only acknowledge it, but we actually have to execute, and we have to create distance. It's the easiest way. It doesn't have to be some dramatic thing, but you got to focus on yourself and you got to do what's best for you. And if you have dead weight dragging behind you, or negative energy seeping in, or comparison just constantly bouncing off of your energy, it's going to affect you in the long run in a very, very negative way for a longer period of time. And like I said, you don't have to love them any less, but just meet them where they're at. Put them in your life where they belong. Don't overextend yourself or give people like that too much access to you, because they don't deserve it. They don't. And they're not going to do it for you. Think about it that way. Everything that they're doing against you that's hurting you, whether it's indirect or direct or intentional or not intentional, they wouldn't do it the same for you. If you were a shitty friend to them, hopefully these women would be like, not interested in keeping this friend around. She doesn't give a shit about me or what I'm doing or how I'm showing up in my life. Flip the script and be like, would this person tolerate this if I treated them that way? Chances are they wouldn't. So don't give them the same respect. The right women won't feel threatened by your growth. They'll feel inspired by it. They'll bounce off of it. They'll want more for you. They're attracting your energy just like you're attracting theirs. They're not threatened by it. That's such a small way of thinking. It really is. Wherever you're listening to this episode, by the way, if you've ever had a friendship breakup or outgrown a friendship, drop a comment below, because I just want you guys to see how normal this is and how you're not the only ones out there. I promise you. I could drop like 15 comments of my own. So if you do and you know exactly what I'm talking about it, comment below, because the other girls around you need to hear it. This is a very normal thing. This is life. This is life. We have to deal with it forever until our forever ends. But we won't talk about that. Outgrowing friendships is a part of growing up, and you don't need some crazy friendship breakup. Sometimes creating a little bit of distance with people like that is plenty enough. But ultimately, you want to attract the kinds of friendships and women into your life that actually support your growth and want to be a part of your evolution in a positive way. All right, I'm going to answer a couple of your guys' questions, and then I'm going to let you get on with your bad self on this Feral Friday, okay? All right, first question. Am I a bad person for distancing myself from friends who don't support my goals? Absolutely not. Growth requires all sorts of different types of environments, and you're not abandoning your friends because you're changing your environment, okay? You're just protecting your future, and you don't have to feel bad about that. You can invite your friends in to have the same goals as you if they're interested in it. If you're not interested in inviting them into your goals, then that's okay too. But don't allow them to hold you back, and don't hold yourself back by feeling bad about it, because it's not going to push you in the direction that you want to go. And at the end of the day, it's a them thing versus a you thing. And you should want to go for your goals and shoot for the moon and the stars and the sun and all the things, because it's your life at the end of the day. And your true friends will always stick around for that. So don't feel bad. Distance yourself. It's required. Next question. How do you know if your friend is jealous of you? Easy. Subtle digs. They don't support your goals. They don't show up for you when you win. They don't say very nice things to you. They're like, and it's an energy thing, honestly. A jealous friend is more of a feeling than it is you can have friends that are jealous of you that would never even say something bad or give you some sort of hint. Sometimes people are jealous in secret. I actually feel like most people are jealous in secret. So I feel like jealous friends are the scariest ones to have. But pay attention to who claps for you when you win. If your friends are cheering you on and they're excited and they're asking you questions, they want to be there for you and they show up for you and they're genuinely there because they give a shit, that's an energy thing. You should be able to feel that. And it verbiates off of one another because you're showing up for your friend that way too. If they're not doing that, that's probably a key indicator that they're a jealous friend. Like I said, might not say anything at all. Those ones are harder to read, but also easy to read, because if they're doing nothing in support, what is the point? Is it normal to lose friends in your 20s? I think I have a whole episode about being in your 20s. So yes, it is normal. It's like the most normal thing in the world. Get used to it. If I could go back 10 years ago and be 19 again, there aren't very many people I'm still friends with that I met in the last 10 years. And I know that that's sad to say. It's not that I don't keep up with them or we don't follow each other on social or whatever, but we don't hang out regularly. Again, I don't love them any less. Some people have zero contact with, not even through social media. They were just like, they came into the shot and then they're out of the shot. You know what I mean? It's just like, there's a lot of people there's people like that we don't even remember. So yes, is it normal to lose friends in your 20s? Abso-freaking-lutely. Your 20s is your identity decade. You're just trying to figure out who the fuck you are. You don't even know who you are yet. You're a baby. You're in your 20s. You're going to have different careers, different friendships, different relationships. You're going to move. You're going to change your style 1,000 times. You're going to cut your hair. You're going to get the nose ring. You're going to get a tattoo. You're going to get laser to remove the tattoo. Trust me. You're going to go through it all. Your 20s is super fun, but you're just figuring out who you are. So you're not probably going to keep the same friends because you're not probably going to stay the same for the next 10 years or whatever age you are in your 20s. And this could go for any decade, but especially your 20s, you're figuring out who you are. And you don't know who you are yet. Your friends don't know who you are yet. Your friends don't know who they are yet, okay? So you're going to lose them and it's okay. There's no love lost. That is just the dichotomy of it all. And remember, your circle will change every single time you change. You're going to change a lot. Even if you're in your 30s, you're going to change a lot. But every time you change, your circle should too. Should. Key indicator. Not only will it, but it should change. What if my best friend gets weird when good things happen to me? Oof. Best friend, red flag. Red flag, red flag, red flag. Flag on the play. I wish I had a freaking red flag in here. Your best friend, the BFF, my BFF gel. Most of you listening probably don't even know what commercial I'm talking about when I say that because you're so young. And I love you for that. But if your best friend is getting weird when something good happens to you, that is no bueno. And it's probably not because they don't love you or like you or want you to win. They're just feeling insecure about themselves and they're forcing themselves to compare themselves against you. Whether you're comparing the situations, the friendships, the relationship, the job, the goal, the whatever it is, they are comparing themselves to you and they're feeling insecure about it. Like I said before, if you can have an honest conversation with this person, which if it's your best friend, like you said, best friend, you should definitely be able to have a conversation with your best friend about anything. It's literally their job. Then I would bring it up and say how you feel and get it out on the table. And just by having those conversations sometimes can totally put them to bed. It's just like crinkling up that like old homework and throwing it in the trash. Be like, oh, I'm so glad I got that off my chest. I was way overwhelmed and overstimulated for no reason. And everything I was thinking was in my head and it was causing issues between me and my best friend. How silly. So if you have the strength and you have the comfortability in that friendship and that relationship to actually have that conversation, highly recommend. But if they're continuing to feel weird around you or make you feel off when you're doing something good or great or different, if you can't have the conversation, just create the distance because that is a very, very, very heavy weight to carry and it's going to bite you in the ass the longer you drag that shit around. Should you confront a jealous friend? Usually no. Actually, because most people just can't admit when they're jealous. Some people might not even register it as jealousy. If you have the balls to do it, do it. But it's probably not going to end well and it might create that dramatic breakup that you're trying to avoid, that friendship breakup that you don't really want. So usually I would say no. And instead I would just change how much access that person has to me and how much of my access I give to them. You know, like maybe don't hang out every weekend or roll around in the same circles or go on like one-on-one lunch dates and stuff like that. I would just change the access with that person. I don't know that I would necessarily confront it because I feel like that would be a fireworks show in your face and nobody wants that. I can handle a fireworks show. Like me personally, I'm about a fireworks show most of the time, but not like if you don't want the crazy and you don't want the drama and whatever might come next, it depends on the archetype of this specific person. But no, I would just change my access with them. I wouldn't probably confront it if I didn't have to. One more question. Is it possible to outgrow an entire friend group? Yes, of course it is. It's actually more common to outgrow an entire friend group. Why? Because the entire friend group is usually the same. Like, what are they doing? Partying every weekend, hanging out with the boys, sleeping around. I don't know. I'm making this up. I'm not saying that this is your friend group, but typically your friends tend to do the same things. And if you start to change and go in a different direction, you're that little one-off in that clan and you don't fit in anymore because you're choosing not to fit anymore just because you're interested in other things. That's okay. It happens more often than you would think. And if you're starting a new business, that's going to happen naturally. Hopefully your friend group supports you, but if not, that's okay. Because when you start a new business, you're working all the time. You're focused on this thing. You're not going out every weekend. You're not going out at nights. You're on the grind. You're building something new. So naturally, that those outings might fade and fizzle away. So you're not as a part of the group as you used to be. Getting sober is another one. Maybe you don't drink anymore. Maybe you stop doing extracurricular activities. Maybe you quit smoking. I don't know. Could be a plethora of things, but getting sober is usually a strong indicator of whatever group you were in before. If you're the only one who's getting sober or just changing your health in that way, you're going to stick out like a sore thumb and you're just kind of outgrow that group. And not that that group is lesser than, but you're just going in a different direction. Or even entering a new relationship. Maybe you met somebody and they're fabulous. Maybe it's even a toxic relationship and that's why you see your friends less. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt, fucking sucks. Don't recommend. Always choose your friends over a boy, especially if the boy is toxic. Yeah, let's just not do that. But maybe, hopefully, it's a healthy relationship. So maybe you're just focusing on your significant other more and you're spending more time with them and you're building that relationship and you're going for gold. You want to do the whole move-in thing, the engagement thing, the marriage thing, if you see that with a person. So naturally, if your friends are still single and out and partying and not meeting their guys or girls, then you're naturally going to go in a different direction because you're prioritizing your growth in your relationship, maybe just your relationship with yourself or with a partner at that point. That's okay. Evolution can be a very, very lonely road, but it's highly recommended. And all in all, we just don't want to keep friends around us that don't support us and don't want to see us win. So let this episode be your reminder that protecting your growth isn't selfish. It's very, very necessary. And your friends need to know that. They need to support it. They need to be there for it. They need to show up for it at any capacity that they can. If it's coming out in a negative way, maybe it's time to find new friends. I hope that all of your friends are amazing and perfect and wonderful and beautiful. But if for any reason they're not, or if they're any of the types that I talked about today and you're just feeling a little bit fuzzy and not in the fun way around those people, replay this episode, go back into the clips, send it to your friends, share it with them. Maybe they feel the same way, or maybe like, oh my gosh, I know exactly who she's talking about. Let's have a conversation about it. Could be anything, but women are more powerful together. Powerful women are more powerful together. So attract those kinds of women in your life. Attract the people that you want to help you and see you grow and evolve and change and push you. Your friends should always be supporting you. Your friends should not be talking shit about you behind your back. They shouldn't want to see you lose. They shouldn't want to avoid you or make you feel some sort of way or say snide remarks or not support your content or your growth or your changes or your business or your relationships or anything like that. That is not what friends are for. So if you have any friends in your life like that, maybe it is time to take a look around and do some house cleaning. You know what I'm saying? I know this wasn't a fun topic to talk about, but it is a necessary topic to talk about. And we've all dealt with it at one phase in our life or another. Some of you are going through this phase right now. So I hope this episode helped you. And I hope that it makes any of your decisions, your future friendships, your past friendships, your current friendships, evolve and grow and strive to be better. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for hanging out with me. I hope you have a feral Friday. In the meantime, make sure to like, follow, subscribe. Give me 5 stars if you like the show. If you're not following the show, make sure you go to @Feral the podcast across all platforms. You guys can follow me everywhere, anywhere. If you guys don't follow me personally, feel free to go follow my personal brand, Savana_Montana, also across all platforms. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to email me at feral@savanamontana.com. Please submit your questions. You guys can go to the website, savanamontana.com, and submit your questions. You can also go to the same website and submit your feral confessions. If you guys have any feral confessions or crazy topic experiences, things that you've gone through that you want to talk about, that you want me to bring up on the show, I highly, highly, highly suggest you go to the website and submit your feral confessions, because there's like a 99.9% chance that they'll show up on the show and we can talk all about it. So I love getting your guys' confessions. Please send them in. In the meantime, you know what to do. Stay feral, and I will see you guys next Friday. Okay, love you. Bye. Mwah. Tell you who the fuck I think I am. You got a minute? Wow.